Hey YouTube, it's Jay. Channel's questionable behavior, and unfortunately there's been some majorly questionable behavior going on at Antioch High School in Nashville, Tennessee. Solomon Henderson decided to take a gun to school and start shooting. He ended up killing one young girl, but our hearts go out to Jocelyn Escalante. The news report that I'm about to play for you from the investigative reporter has in her hand a manifesto. This guy couldn't be any more than 17 years old. What in the heck does he know about a manifesto? Now, when you hear all of the information that she shares in this investigative report, you'll say, well, he knew quite a bit, but it was all rhetoric and rambling and doesn't make sense. Like, he can't possibly have the world experience that his manifesto manifests. No way. He's giving credence to people that he absolutely doesn't know. I guarantee you this, and I'm going to get into the investigative report right now. I guarantee you this. He was isolated in his room on the internet, and that's where he got all this information from, and he made up his own mind to behave the way he did. Isolation is not a good thing. Remember, this channel is about mental wellness, and isolation is the opposite of being well. We were not meant to isolate ourselves away from the rest of humanity. And unfortunately, with the internet, these kids do that. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. All they do all day is, on their phones. They're not talking to anyone. They're texting everyone. They don't talk. Anyway, let's get into the investigative report.
Investigative reporter Jennifer Krause has been working to learn more about him. Jennifer, what'd you find out?
Well, Rory, we have a copy of what purports to be a manifesto that was posted on social media on an account that appears to belong to Henderson. This was posted shortly before the shootings, along with several photos which match the crime scene photos that we have seen. What is in here is extremely disturbing and chilling. It's horrifying. As you can see, it's thick. It's 51 pages long, filled with text as well as pictures. It starts with the title, "The West has fallen, billions must die." He says,
"West has fallen, billions must die." Okay, that makes absolutely no sense. He obviously has some challenges mentally. His head is not right at all for him to say anything like that.
"Death to all unworthy men, traitors, and infiltrators." It appears that he was radicalized. He is heavily anti-Semitic in here. Says death to Israel, blames Jews for so many things, that they are, quote, poisoning our culture and rap.
Culture and rap. That's all they're poisoning? Our culture, which is African American, and rap. That tells you he has a very narrow view of the world.
And retribution for what they have stolen is legitimate and a good thing, he writes. There are many other racial and ethnic slurs in here. The N-word is used extensively throughout. But he says, "I am ashamed to be black."
Now that makes no sense. He just said that the Jews are the problem, but now he's ashamed to be black. That's a contrast to what he just said.
Posts a flyer from the neo-Nazi hate group Goyim Defense League. That group.
What does he know about a neo-Nazi group? I really would like to know.
I remember was here in Nashville last summer holding demonstrations. Then he posts a series of questions and answers, such as, would killing random high schoolers save the white race or something?
Is that about the dumbest thing you've ever heard? Like, how is that going to save any race, killing somebody?
And he answers, yes, if they were people of color. He writes, are you a victim of bullying? He says, I can't remember a single instance of being bullied personally, but says the media and attention seekers will say that I was, and other BS, like he was just a quiet kid. It's, why did you attack a school? He doesn't specifically answer that one, but then goes on to describe the various people who should be targeted. A long list of people, from presidents to journalists and children. Among the people who he says radicalized him, he cites Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, a hard-right anti-Semitic pundit who you may remember was here in Nashville again for those neo-Nazi attacks.
He's highlighting people he doesn't even know that he's watching on the internet. I mean, wow.
He writes, do you plan to survive the attack? He writes, I plan on going out as a hero by blowing my brains with my gun. Well,
he's way he's out there. He's really out there. And it's a shame. It's a real shame that somebody can be this far gone to actually think that way and then act on it. Wow.
Live streaming. And this is particularly disturbing because we saw video posted this morning on this same X account purportedly belonging to him that shows video labeled as a test. He includes a map of the school. Under the heading, My Gear, Weapons, and Clothing, there's a photo of the gun and cartridges that match the photos of the gun that were also posted on that same account shortly before the shootings. There's a photo of a lock-picking kit. He also pays tribute to people he modeled his attack after and lists half a dozen people who committed mass murders. And finally, he closes with what he calls final remarks. What's interesting is that these are dated November 18th of 2024, meaning he'd been thinking about this for a while. And he writes, I was so miserable, I wanted to kill myself. I just couldn't take any more.
If you're that miserable, man, you got to be able to talk to somebody. That's the point of the channel. That when we're unhappy, now this is an extreme case, but when we're unhappy, we have to find a way out of that unhappiness. You got to find somebody to talk to, a professional. But this seems like it may not have mattered.
He includes a list of various social media accounts that he says were his. Many have now been suspended. At least one we found included a link to instructions on how to carry out a mass killing. Again, this appears to be his, but nothing specifically on any of the social media accounts or this says Solomon Henderson. Perhaps, though, because he includes a warning in here, Rory, that includes the words that say feds are cracking down. So never post your face, where you live, never post, and I mean any personal information about yourself whatsoever. I have, Carrie, reached out to Metro Police to ask them if they can confirm, acknowledge, or any comment to this, and I am waiting to hear back.
Well, that was horrible. And I don't know what to say other than this young boy needed help. Solomon Henderson was his name. He needed help, and he never got help. And that is the tragedy. The event is horrible. The worst possible outcome. Jocelyn Escalante, so sorry for her and her family. And she didn't have anything to do with his story per se, I wouldn't think. Not the insanity that he was dealing with. I can't tell you how important it is to seek out mental wellness treatment. And I say that anyone, everyone, should talk to someone about how they're feeling. They needed to get to Solomon years ago, it sounds like, because this is building. This didn't just happen. He didn't do this by himself. He was influenced by the internet, by what he was listening to, what he heard from this direction or that direction, and turned out to believe it. And he was just lost. And you need ongoing support to deal with this kind of stuff. This doesn't happen overnight. Listen, channel's questionable behavior. If you're having some problems and some bad thoughts, reach out to someone. Reach out to me. I'll point you in the right direction. Thanks for joining. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Really would love to hear from you. Be well.